Hello and good morning. I hope this video finds you well. So I thought I would come on and talk about some of the big energies happening now in March of 2023. It's a time of great transformation. I'm sure a number of you have heard this. I'm sure a number of you who are psychic and aware of this, or starseeds, are also feeling a lot of this energy. But I thought I would come on and just say a few things. There are a couple of big changes happening in March. One of them is Saturn moving into Pisces. And if you have a look at my playlist, I've actually done a video on that topic. So I'm probably not going to talk about it a great deal here because you can always watch that and it goes into a lot more detail. Pluto also moves into Aquarius. It will yo-yo between Aquarius and Capricorn until November of 2024, where it will stay for 20 years after that. So 2024 to about 2044. But now we're starting with the yo-yoing. We're starting to basically feel the energy of that at this particular point in time, and it will certainly stay there until about June. So we have a bit of a dose of Pluto and Aquarius for the time being before it moves out. There's also during this month the full moon in Virgo, which I'm going to do a separate video on as well, probably after this one, so you can actually listen in to and look at what's going on in that particular aspect as well. Again, I'm only going to touch on it very briefly here because I have a separate video and it's really and truly a topic in itself. So just to give you a bit of a rundown about what's going on. The fourth thing that's happening is we have a lot of planets in the sign of Aries, which is the beginning. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's the beginning of everything. And when we have lots of planets here, it basically means that there are lots of new beginnings coming in for us as well. As Saturn and Pluto move out of their signs, Saturn moving out of Aquarius into Pisces and Pluto moving out of Capricorn into Aquarius. One of the things we're also going to see is lots and lots of endings, because those are big planets. They don't move a whole lot. Saturn stays in a sign for 3 years. Pluto stays in a sign obviously for up to 20 years. It's been in Capricorn for 16 years at this point in time. So because they're big planets and they don't move as quickly as some of the personal planets like the sun and the moon, when they move, it becomes a bit of a big deal. So there are things that we need to pay attention to. So quite a lot going on at this particular month, and I think some of you will really and truly be feeling that in a really big way. So it's also really powerful from a spiritual perspective as well, because in May we have the Wesak festival, so we're starting to feel some of that energy as well. And Wesak, I might do a separate video on that. It happens in May. It's when the new moon goes into Taurus, but it's actually considered a very spiritual time, because it's considered the time of the birth of Buddha, lots of spiritual blessings coming down. And as we move into these months leading up to it, then we start to feel that energy as well. So it's overall, for the next 3 or 4 months, is going to be a very powerful time, certainly for us moving forward around our spirituality, etc. So we have, a number of planets in Aries. As I said, we've got Venus, Jupiter, and Chiron, all basically playing out and making connections to each other, talking about basically new beginnings, and really moving us to the next level as well. Venus is also conjunct, obviously, Jupiter and Chiron from March the 1st to the 11th, and then it moves on, and it conjuncts then Chiron at that particular point in time. So there's a sense here of how you've actually changed, how you're different, how have you moved through certain things. And with Venus, it's not just about relationships, but also about what you value and what you find really important in yourself as well. That has also changed as such. The Aries energy is really going to start everybody to really get excited, move up. Aries is a great motivator. It's the warrior energy. It's the initiator. So it's a great time to move things forward. And with Venus and moving close to that, it'll basically give us a lot more self-confidence in terms of being who we are, which is really powerful. And with that conjunction with Jupiter, wherever it sits, tends to expand things. So with Jupiter and Venus, it's going to expand our potentials, our opportunities, our sense of who we are and what we're doing as well. And so Jupiter is really lovely because it brings in tends to make things much easier in a sense, and brings in a lot of a lot of spiritual protection, a lot of expansion energy, which is actually quite nice to be with already. And so with Chiron there also in Aries, there's something here that we really and truly have healed. We've moved on through, we've resolved, we've finished. And so it feels like, certainly it feels like for me, it's like a stage is just done now. So it's time for a new beginning in some particular area. And in that way, it's actually a very, very powerful part of us. We also have the Aries Equinox, which happens around most of the world on March the 20th. In Australia, it actually happens here on March the 21st, and it's when the sun moves back into the sign of Aries, which is very much the beginning of new moon, new beginning, new things happening. And it's also forming a sextile, which is a supportive aspect with Pluto, which means that there's going to be some very supportive transformational energy around us at this point. And so there's going to also be some very powerful rebirthing and new ways of understanding how we are and who we are in this lifetime as well. So that's very, very powerful. As we know, Saturn enters Pisces on March the 7th, and it sits between 0 and 7 degrees for this year. So wherever Pisces is in your chart, and where 0 to 7 degrees is in Pisces in your own natal chart, is where this is going to affect you in terms of the particular area of your life. But Saturn in Pisces is about a growing and evolving spirituality. It's about, really raising us to the next level, basically helping us maybe achieve a dream, because Saturn is very good at making things practical. Pisces can be a bit airy-fairy, wishy-washy sometimes, and a little bit unclear. So Saturn comes in and says, let's get real about this, let's get practical, and basically let's get on with it. So that can be a very, very powerful time as well. Saturn also is, because it's the planet of mastery, etc., and discipline, it also says what doesn't work, don't fluff around with, just get on and move on. So it really just shows us what we need to go. But it's also going to help us move a lot in terms of our spiritual growth and our spiritual journey. And it's really, really helping us become more spiritual masters within ourselves, and also in some ways finding our own guru within ourselves rather than relying on other people to give us details or information about things which we clearly don't need. There's a bit of a warning here about, because Pisces is connected to health, so keep on top of your health, look after yourself. It's really, really important. So it's also saying let go. Pisces is dissolving energy, so let go of anything that doesn't work for you anymore. Just let it flow away. Interestingly enough, it could also be very practical. I was listening to something this morning talking about the fact that March is a time of real spring cleaning. I don't know about you, but I'm in the process at the moment of decluttering and spring cleaning lots of things from not only my life but also my house physically, and Saturn likes to get practical, so I'm being very practical, putting out lots of things, giving away things that I don't need anymore, and things that don't work for me, and also basically moving things through and putting stuff out that's old and doesn't need to be kept anymore. So it's a very powerful time. It's a good time to spring clean as well. So that's really powerful. And also Saturn and Pisces can really bring us inner wisdom, which is really, really powerful if we listen to that inner voice, because Pisces is very psychic, very intuitive, connected to spirituality. So basically it can be a really important time. So Pluto then goes into Aquarius. As I said, it's the first time into Aquarius. It hasn't been in Aquarius for about 250 years. And this happens just 2 days after the Aries New Moon on March the 23rd. So it's actually really, really important in terms of bringing in a whole new energy of beginnings of personal transformation in many ways, because Pluto likes to transform wherever it goes. So that's very, very powerful. We might be opening up and moving into new energies and new areas where at a spiritual and a soul level we've not been before, which could be very, very powerful for all of us. Maybe moving into different levels of consciousness as well. But the thing with Pluto is Pluto likes to come in, knock down everything, and basically get rid of everything before it moves us forward. So it could be a time when there's a lot of demolition going on in your world as well, which could be very, very important. So that's very, very powerful. It also can bring it can also encourage us to make choices because we're going through a transformation phase around what's different, where do we need to go next, what's real for us, because Pluto will get rid of all the illusions. It just dissolves everything that isn't real and isn't meant to be. So this could be very important. And it also could bring about some changes globally as well. We might be seeing some things changing and shifting. We've been talking about the fact that there's a shift into what is the new Earth, and the new Earth is not a planet. The new Earth is a place within ourselves where we are basically consciously creating within ourselves. So Pluto will also start to help us move forward and maybe start to give us a lot of energy and a sense of rebellion and want us, Aquarius is very rebellious, wants freedom. So could really start us on a journey of wanting to really and truly get out there and just get free and do certain things differently. Now, Mercury enters Pisces on the 3rd of March, and so it's helping us get ready in terms of mentally what's coming forward. So it's very, very important because, it's bringing us forward in terms of there's also that energy of Aquarius. So there's a lot going on in the mental realm as well. We might, start to move into being aware of more things, in terms of not only spring cleaning our physical reality, but maybe in terms of our thinking and what needs to go there and what needs to change as well. We have that full moon in Virgo. I'm going to do a separate video of that, but that's about balancing, that's about health, and we're releasing here in lots of ways as well. Full moon's often a time when we see things that weren't obvious, so it's a time of releasing things, around our perfectionism, maybe our criticism, maybe even our self-doubt of who we are in terms of who we want to be as well. This can inspire us to get more productive, and also because Virgo is very much about the body as well, maybe help us get into some more healthier habits in terms of what we need to look at within ourselves that maybe we haven't shifted, and look at what doesn't support us at this particular point in time. But also because Virgo is connected to Hygeia and healing, also can bring in a lot of energy of healing and maybe letting go of things and seeing healing places where we haven't been before. Venus moves into Taurus on the 17th of March. So we're going to get grounded again after Venus has been in Aries. And it's also with Taurus, it's going to look at how we're relating to other people, our stability, our connections with other people. So we're finding maybe because Taurus is very, earthed and grounded, very home oriented, we could get more connected to our homes, to cooking, to gardening, to things that make our homes better and nicer, and also connecting our connection to Mother Gaia as well, and helping us feel grounded and stable and all of that. And that's probably not a bad place in a sense with all the other energy that's quite, that's a bit out there in a sense. So, and as we end the month, Mars finally moves out of Gemini, where it's been for the last 7 months, and it moves into Cancer. Now, this isn't the most happy alignment because Mars is connected to Aries, is fire energy, Cancer is water, so very, very different sorts of elements, but it could bring a lot of determination and strength around our home and our family and protecting those people we love. It could also get us looking more at our emotional needs and what we need to look at. There's also things, because it's Mars again in Cancer, and Mars is very fiery, we could have more temper, more anger, more frustration at this particular point in time because of that opposition, because they are such different sorts of energies. And so the important thing, if anger or frustration comes up at this point, is to deal with it, honestly look at it, and then let it go. So don't hold on to any of that, because that's not very healthy either. But also in this time, our home and where we are, because Cancer is also about home and family, can be quite a safe place, a really good place for us to be. So it's important that we also spend some time and energy there. And with Venus moving into Taurus, certainly that's going to be supporting us creating a really nice home space, nice home environment, and a beautiful space for us to build from. So that's pretty well it in a nutshell for March. So take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.